My name is Marcus Chen. I'm 29 years old, and for 2 years, my parents systematically destroyed every opportunity I had to build a life outside their control. By the time I figured out what they were doing, I was sleeping in my car and eating one meal a day from a church pantry. Before I tell you how I discovered the truth, let me take you back to where it started, San Jose, California, the week after my 26th birthday. I grew up in a 3-bedroom house in a quiet suburb. My father, David, worked in tech middle management for 25 years. My mother, Susan, volunteered at the library every Tuesday. To the neighbors, we were the model immigrant family, hardworking, quiet, respectful. Behind closed doors, everything ran on my father's schedule. I didn't have my own email until I was 22. Most of my paychecks from my part-time jobs went into a family account that I never saw statements for. When I mentioned moving out after college, my father set down his chopsticks and said, "Why would you waste money on rent when you have a home?" I stayed. I worked remote customer service jobs from my childhood bedroom. I paid household contributions that somehow equaled most of my income. And every Sunday night, my father would review my weekly activities like a performance evaluation. "Marcus, you spent 3 hours at the coffee shop on Thursday. Why?" "I was working. Change of scenery. Work happens at home. No need to waste gas." The week after I turned 26, something shifted. I was sitting at my desk, the same desk I'd done homework at since middle school, and a thought hit me like cold water. I'm going to be 40 years old in this exact room, asking permission to leave the house. That scared me more than anything my father had ever said. I started applying for jobs in Oakland, 30 miles away. Marketing assistant, operations coordinator, anything that paid enough to afford a studio apartment. I used the library computers and created a new email address my parents didn't know about. The first interview came within a week. A small digital marketing firm, energetic hiring manager, good fit. The interview went perfectly. Then 3 days later, "Hi Marcus, we've decided to go with another candidate. Best of luck." I applied to 6 more companies over 2 months. 4 interviews. Same pattern. Enthusiastic initial contact, great interview, sudden rejection. The 7th was different. The hiring manager, Jennifer, was honest with me. She called instead of emailing. "Marcus, I'm going to be direct. We received a phone call about you." My chest tightened. "What kind of call?" "Someone claiming to be from your previous employer. They said you had been terminated for theft." "That's not true. I've never been fired. I've never stolen anything." She paused. "The caller had details about you, your birthday, your college. It seemed legitimate." "Did they leave a name?" "No, they said they were calling as a professional courtesy." I drove home in silence. That night at dinner, my mother served beef and broccoli. My father talked about a new project at work. Everything normal, everything ordinary. "How was your day, Marcus?" my mother asked. "Fine," I said. I waited 3 weeks before checking my father's office. He and my mother had gone to their monthly dim sum lunch with friends. I had maybe 90 minutes. In his filing cabinet, 3rd drawer down, I found a manila folder labeled Marcus Employment. Inside, printouts of my job applications, screenshots of my new email account, company names, hiring manager names, phone numbers, all highlighted in yellow, and handwritten notes in my father's precise block letters. Called March 15th, spoke to HR director, mentioned performance issues and theft allegation. Called March 22nd, left voicemail for hiring manager, referenced background concerns. Called April 8th, email sent from anonymous account, attached fabricated termination letter. 15 companies, 15 sabotaged opportunities. All documented like a project plan. I photographed every page with my phone, put the folder back exactly as I'd found it, and walked to my room. My hands didn't start shaking until I closed the door. I placed the printed photos on the dining table that night. My father was reading the news on his tablet. My mother was preparing tea. "Explain this," I said. My father looked at the papers. His expression didn't change. "You went through my private office. You called my employers. You lied about me. I protected you from making a terrible mistake." My mother set down the teapot. "Marcus, you don't understand how hard the world is. Those companies would have exploited you, overworked you. You're safe here." I'm 26 years old. I need to build my own life. My father stood up. He wasn't tall, but he filled the room. You build your life under this roof with this family. That's how our culture works. But you don't abandon your parents because some American company offers you false promises. You forged documents. You impersonated employers. That's illegal. He smiled, actually smiled. Then call the police. Tell them your father made a phone call. See how that goes. I looked at my mother. She was crying, but her voice was steady. If you leave this house, we have no son. I packed that night, one suitcase, my laptop, my phone, and $300 in cash I'd hidden in a book. When I opened the front door, my father was standing in the hallway. Your car is registered in my name, he said. Your health insurance is through my employer. Your phone is on my plan. You walk out with nothing. I left the car keys on the hall table. Kept the phone. I'd deal with that later. A friend from college picked me up at the 7-Eleven 2 blocks away. The shelter, I stayed on my friend's couch for 3 weeks until his lease ended. Then I moved to a men's shelter in East Oakland. 40 beds, shared bathrooms, lights out at 10 p.m. I kept applying for jobs, but now I had no address, no car, and a phone my father was probably tracking. After 2 weeks, I bought a prepaid phone with my last $40. The applications continued, the rejections too. My father's campaign had expanded. He'd created a fake LinkedIn profile using a stock photo and a generic name, then left warnings about me in the comments of job postings. He'd found my new email and sent anonymous tips to hiring managers. I know because one recruiter forwarded me the email by mistake. The subject line, concerns regarding Marcus Chen, candidate ID 4782. The email detailed fabricated disciplinary actions, invented customer complaints, and a termination that never happened. It was CC'd to an address I recognized. My father's personal Gmail. He'd made a mistake. A small one, but enough. I took that email to a legal aid clinic attached to a community college. The attorney, a tired-looking woman named Patricia Orozco, reviewed it in silence. This is defamation, she said, possibly tortious interference. California takes this seriously. I don't have money for a lawyer. You might not need one. Do you have more evidence? I showed her the photos of my father's folder, the documentation of 15 sabotaged applications, the fabricated termination letter he created using his company's old letterhead. Patricia leaned back. Marcus, your father made this too easy. He documented his own harassment. That almost never happens. She took my case pro bono. We filed a civil lawsuit 3 weeks later. Defamation, intentional interference with prospective economic advantage, emotional distress. We requested damages and a restraining order. My father was served at his office. He called me 23 times that day. I didn't answer. Patricia had advised me, all communication goes through counsel now. My parents hired a lawyer who withdrew after 2 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. Patricia had subpoenaed phone records showing calls to my prospective employers. We had the fabricated documents. We had my father's handwritten notes. In the settlement conference, my father sat stone-faced while his second attorney recommended he accept our terms. Once my mother cried quietly into the corner. The settlement, $45,000 in damages, a permanent restraining order, and a written admission that the allegations were false. My father signed without speaking. He looked at me once across that conference table, and I saw something I'd never seen before. Not anger, not control, but confusion. He genuinely didn't understand what he'd done wrong. I was protecting you, he said. No, I replied. You were protecting yourself from losing control. 3 years later. I'm 29 now. I work as a digital marketing specialist for a tech startup in Oakland. I have a studio apartment with a view of Lake Merritt. I'm saving for a master's degree. I haven't spoken to my parents in 2 years. My mother sent a Christmas card last year. Dad says he forgives you. Please come home. I didn't respond. Recently, my cousin told me my father is in therapy, that he'd told the therapist, I don't know why my son abandoned me. Maybe someday he'll understand. Maybe he won't. But his understanding isn't required for my healing. I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm sharing it because somewhere right now, someone is sitting in their childhood bedroom, wondering if wanting independence makes them ungrateful. It doesn't. Wanting to work is not betrayal. Wanting your own life is not disrespect. And walking away from people who are systematically destroying your opportunities is not cruelty. It's survival. If this story sounds familiar, if you're living some version of it right now, know this. You're not crazy. You're not selfish. And you're not alone. Tell me where you are watching from. I would love to know.